Probably one of my favorite things of Treyarch titles that doesn't affect gameplay or setting or anything, that's just strictly an afterthought for so many people, is something that's just a ton of fun to me. Dark Ops challenges. So Treyarch has had, for the last 10 years or so, really been keen on challenges, calling cards, camos, you name it, while we've seen dedicated 100%er challenges for a while now, task you with completing every single challenge in the game. One such set of challenges that exists outside of that 100% completion track are the Dark Ops challenges, because they're so out there, they don't offer any real hints on what you're supposed to do from the game menus. That's what makes them so intriguing to me, at least. Challenges with no criteria available publicly until you unlock it. Today, I want to take a look at all of the Dark Ops challenges in Black Ops 6 now that we have every core pillar of the game available this year: campaign, multiplayer, zombies, and Warzone. A first in the Dark Ops and 100%er spectrum. So today we're breaking down the criteria of every single one of these, offering a few tips where applicable, and giving you a few heads up on a couple that are actually easier than they sound. So drop your thoughts as we go along. What do you think of the challenges this year for Dark Ops? Like them, have a few, let me know. If you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and drop a like on the video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to stay up to date with all things Black Ops 6, guides, updates, news and information, all the latest with Black Ops 6 and other FPS content. We're now on that road to 700,000 subscribers, so if you'd like to join the community, I'd love to have you. But for now, let's get into it. So let's start with campaign. To me, campaign Dark Ops is often the easiest one since there's no stakes. You can go at your own pace, and we always have less challenges to do to get extra mastery calling cards for Dark Ops mastery. Strangely, this year's campaign Dark Ops not only had the shortest list of them, but also I'd say the easiest of campaign Dark Ops challenges as well. So here's how to do them. For campaign, the first one was Phantom Presence, where you have to sneak through the Black Site Intel Center without being detected in Most Wanted. This sounds like, at first glance, a harder task than it is. This, if you take the approach to go stealthy, you'll get callouts from Marshall giving you heads up on where enemies are. The only one you might need to get right is the collateral on the guards in the conference room, but other than that, it's just a matter of just sneaking past like 5 enemies. A lot simpler than it sounds. Once you get into the ceiling catwalk, you're through and done. Endless Options requires you to destroy all Scud missiles without using C4 in the mission hunting season. The game will prompt you to plant a C4 if you go up to it, but each of those Scud sites have rocket launchers around it that you can do the job with that just as well. Taking them all out without using C4 ends up getting you the calling card. Missing Persons requires you to stash 5 bodies in lockers in Under the Radar. This one, I was actually surprised at how easy it was. In the Cold War mission Desperate Measures, where you had the same challenge here to stash bodies away, that one was a bit tougher, where it took you a little bit of time and you kind of had to be a little more stealthy with it. This one, you can get it done within the first of the 3 main objectives to scout out. I did mine by the radar buildings and got 4 there. Also, make sure you take the guy and stash him that you take the Pantheon uniform from at the very beginning of the mission, because there's 0 chance of getting caught up there. A freebie for sure. Then, Kineticist, the final Dark Ops challenge for Black Ops 6's campaign, requires you to complete the time trial in a single run in Separation Anxiety. Mini spoiler alert here, because this one comes so far into the campaign, but I think honestly this might be the only one that was kind of tough, and even at that, that's still kind of generous to put it. But really, it's just rushing at it and going full bore at this objective. It shouldn't take too long to master. So this time trial actually comes in Separation Anxiety Lies, the second of the missions of the name. During this part of the campaign, you go back and forth between the safe house and Harrow's Mind, where it might seem like you're on that mission and waiting to complete this time trial, but it's not actually in that part, perhaps. This one's a bit of a platformer challenge and a race against the clock, where you have to platform a bit, grapple to separate platforms, and fight a few enemies. The best tip that I could say is that try and keep moving at all time. As dumb as that sounds, but I mean it in the sense of like when you pick things up, keep moving. Don't stop to let the XM4 cock. Keep moving while it does that. Grapple while hip firing at an enemy or shooting the moment you land instead of before you grapple. The timer requires you to interact with the door on the other end at the end point that if you beat it, great. If you do not beat that timer, do not go into the door unless you want to restart the mission, which this is at the beginning of that, so you're not losing a ton of time, but it saves you about 60 to 90 seconds instead of just restarting at the last checkpoint. If you do not go through that door and you don't beat the timer, just go to your menu and go back to the last checkpoint, and it'll restart that time trial for you. And then all you have to do is just keep trying until you end up getting it. Once you get all 4, you'll end up getting a Dark Ops Mastery Calling card, which frankly this year's for campaign is kind of weak, I think, but hey, it's a free Dark Ops Mastery Calling card. For multiplayer, moving over into this, we end up having a bunch more, but a lot that honestly, at least up front, kind of tie into each other. You have two groupings, one for the sort of intensity of your kill clusters and the one for kill streaks. These starting with Frenzy Killer, Mega Killer, Ultra Killer, and Chain Killer. Frenzy is 5 rapid kills, Mega is 6 rapid kills, Ultra is 7, and the Chain Killer is more than 7 rapid kills. All of these, I think hardcore face-off is incredibly easy to do them in. If you can get in a flow state of some kind, you just kind of have to work a spawn point. I think I got my first sets of these all in pit, where you can just keep pushing and pushing into the spawns, and the spawn points are all predictable. So you just get a kill and then run over to the next point, and by the time they spawn, you're already there. It's just a matter of time until you get that chain together. Then you end up having the Relentless Killer, Brutal Killer, Nuclear Killer, Nuked Out, and the very nuclear Dark Ops challenges that all end up tying around kill streaks. Relentless is to get 20 kills without dying. Brutal is to get 25 kills without dying. Nuclear is to earn a nuke, 30 kills without dying. Nuked Out requires you to earn a nuke in free-for-all without using score streaks. So straight up, have to have a flawless game of free-for-all 30-0. And then the very nuclear challenge was a Dark Ops that was, in prior years, the hardest challenge we will ever see. You have to earn a nuke with 25 different weapons. But as of when I earned this, and it's very possible it still could be, it was bugged, where you only needed to get 30 kills in a game with 25 different weapons. So if you ended up doing Dark Matter, you probably got this, because if you were playing hardcore, going for these headshots, there's a good chance you would have gotten 30 kills with 25 different guns in 25 different games. So that was one that was bugged. You might have it that you got a really cool and really rare calling card, but not for the challenge that it's actually required for. 2 birds with 1 stone requires you to earn a collateral medal outside of hardcore. So if you get a lucky snipe, you take a shot and you end up getting a collateral, that's how you earn that one. Accidentally on purpose, you have to kill an enemy with an environmental hazard, so like a car explosion or something similar. Return to sender tasks you with killing an enemy by throwing back a frag grenade that they threw at you. Circus Act requires you to earn a bank shot medal, which is throwing a tomahawk off a surface and then getting a kill with it. So just start chucking tomahawks at players in small map playlists. You might get this. Also, infected is not bad for this either, because if you are infected every single life, you end up getting that tomahawk. The Buzzsaw challenge requires you to earn 10 triple kill medals or better in hardcore, which is pretty self-explanatory, though I'm wondering if this one is bugged, because I definitely should have this one after how much hardcore I played, and obviously having Dark Spine and Dark Matter, you needed triple kills to end up getting those done. Ace requires you to earn 4 ace medals, which one of those is to kill each enemy a minimum of 4 in a round of search and destroy. Hit Job requires you to get 100 finishing moves. 100K requires you to get 100,000 eliminations career. So this is going to take a little while, but is one that's very simple. You just got to play the game for this one. Go Long, you have to get a long-range combat axe kill with. 2 hardcore for hardcore requires you to get 10 kills without dying 10 times in hardcore. Again, I think that one might have been bugged. Double Trouble requires you to kill both enemies in gunfight with a single shot or explosion, so a grenade of some kind or a collateral with a sniper. Hard Breakup requires 7 finishing moves in a single match, and the final one of Blunt Trauma requires you to kill an enemy with a direct impact of a smoke grenade. Now, while there are 22 challenges in the multiplayer Dark Ops, you actually only need 15 to end up getting the Dark Ops Mastery calling card for multiplayer, as well as zombies, which we'll get to in a second. But 22 very tough challenges, some of which you may have, some of which you may have never even thought about completing, but now you can get at it. For zombies, let's jump into that. Zombies brings along 18 different Dark Ops challenges, some way tougher than the others. Firstly, well, that was a waste, where you have to get downed within 10 seconds after consuming a Perkaholic Gobblegum. So if you got one of those to spare, that might be something that is gonna suck to let go of, but it gets you a Dark Ops challenge. Also, heads up, if you end up reaching Prestige 2, I think it is, there's the Sugar High challenge, which tasks you with getting 8 perks before the start of round 10. If you do this at the very beginning or sometime before round 10, you can knock 2 birds out with 1 stone. No pun intended for the multiplayer Dark Ops challenge we just mentioned. Liberated tasks you with completing the Liberty Falls main quest in under 30 minutes in standard mode. Gummed Up requires you to consume 25 Gobblegums in a single match. Invincible requires you to reach round 30 without going down. Harbinger of Doom requires you to kill 100 enemies with a single score streak. Terminal requires you to complete the Terminus main quest after round 50, so kind of tough on that one. Armed to the Teeth requires you to have 3 Pack-a-Punch level 3 legendary rarity equipped with ammo mods and 8 perks active. So this one is pretty easy to do. It just takes a lot of time to set up, and it's one of those things you just need a lot of salvage and a lot of essence to complete. Yo Ho Ho requires you to, on Terminus, earn 20k essence without getting hit with the Cursed Relic equipped. So that's a sort of two-parter, a side Easter egg, then mixed with a challenge on top of that. Reaper of the Undead requires you to kill 1 million zombies. So again, like 100k, this is going to take a long time to complete, but it is possible to do. It's relatively easy, just going to take a long time. Strike requires you to get 300 score while bowling at Liberty Falls with that minigame inside Liberty Falls. Social Distancing requires you to reach round 20 without taking any damage. Sticks and Stones requires you to get to round 25 solo using only melee weapons, combat axes, and melee macchiato. Another round requires you to reach round 100. Light 'em Up tasks with getting the big game augment for Napalm Burst and killing 10 ignited elite zombies in a single match. Kunoichi tasks you with, during a single use of Ether Shroud with the Void Sheath augments equipped, kill 3 zombies, 2 special zombies, and an elite zombie. Fatale requires you to kill 2 amalgams with a single shot. Good Enough requires you to reach round 20 with only your starting loadout and no augments equipped, and without buying any perks or ammo mods or using field upgrades. Box Addict requires you to buy every weapon from the mystery box in a single game, and I'm pretty sure that also includes the streaks and wonder weapons that come along with that as well. Then you have Dark Journey that requires you to get Nebula camo on 33 weapons in zombies. It can be the base weapons, it can be a combination of the base and the DLC weapons, but so long as you have 33 weapons with Nebula camo unlocked, Dark Journey is yours. And then finally, if you do 15 of those, you complete the Dark Ops challenges, you get Zombies Dark Ops 100%. So again, you don't need to do all of these, but for the Dark Ops Mastery, you need to do at least 15 like you did within multiplayer. Now, the final segment of all the Dark Ops challenges this year comes down to Warzone. Introduced just a little bit ago with the launch of Season 1, we end up having Resourceful, which tasks with getting 3 kills without reloading in a single match. In the Hot Seat, where you have to kill an enemy while riding in a vehicle. Instinctual Sniper requires you to kill an enemy while hip firing with a sniper rifle. Prison Trickster requires you to perform a finishing move in the Gulag. Demolitions Improv will see you killing an enemy with C4 or blast traps attached to a vehicle. Economic Gunslinger requires 5 headshots with pistols in a single match. Death from Above requires you to kill an enemy while driving a helicopter. Scrappy Warrior requires you in Battle Royale or Resurgence to win the match without accessing your loadout at all. So ground loot, weapons you pick up off of enemies, you name it. Show Off requires you in Battle Royale or Resurgence to get a kill in the final circle with a Semtex or drill charge. Surgical Victor will require you in Battle Royale or Resurgence to kill an enemy belonging to the last remaining squad with a throwing knife or combat axe. Doesn't have to be the final kill, but has to be a part of that last team if it's a one-on-one team fight. Contract Completionist tasks you with getting 5 contracts completed in a single Resurgence match, which, fun fact, this actually counts for the bounty public event where you end up getting kills. If you just keep killing the bounties over and over during that public event where they're marked, that counts as contract completion. So if you do 4 of those, you only need to complete 1 additional contract in that Resurgence match. Efficient Combatant requires you to get 10 kills without firing a gun in a single match. So that's going to be something that is like your melees, or if we end up seeing some other special weapon that isn't a projectile, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out, but a tough one for sure. Strategic Tactician requires you to win a Battle Royale game with over 25 eliminations, which, if I'm not mistaken, the 25 eliminations doesn't have to be kills, but that's also if you end up getting assists, because this game now tracks kills and eliminations. Graceful Contender requires you to get 5 kills without taking damage in a single match. Lowrider requires you to kill 4 enemies while riding in a vehicle in a single match. And Abyssal Horrors requires you to earn Abyss camo on 33 weapons in Warzone. So doing all of those camo challenges for the Warzone specific mastery camo, and all of those will then go towards your Warzone mastery. So that is all of the Dark Ops here, a lot of them this year, and a lot of cool stuff that can go along with it. Some interesting, intriguing, and rather tough challenges in some aspects, but again, some are not so tough. You just might not necessarily ever think of doing some of those things. So that is all of the Dark Ops within Black Ops 6, multiplayer, campaign, zombies, and Warzone. Let me know which ones you have or which ones you're going for, but that's where we're going to wrap it up. Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you guys enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe to stay updated with all things Black Ops 6 as we still gear up for a lot upcoming. We have Season 1 Reloaded upcoming soon, and a lot more guides, tutorials, news, and information on deck. Love to have you in the community, but for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care, and peace.